Hey everyone, Kat over here with Confessions of the Perfect Mom. I am coming today with another tip and trick for bread making. If you make your own breads, this is something you need to do every single time. So we're going to get into that. If you didn't catch my last bread making tip and trick, make sure you check that out and put a little banner up top. I'll also drop the link down below. Also, before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel, please and thank you, and that way you're not going to miss anything coming forward. So today we're going to talk about bread, because let's be honest, there is nothing better than fresh baked bread straight out of the oven onto your dinner table, right? And it is just wonderful, and it is love, and everyone is happy. But for some reason, bread has a really bad name, and it makes it seem like it's really complicated and really hard to make. But with just a few little tips and tricks and tweaks, you can make sure that you have a great loaf of bread every single time for your family. So again, my last one was all about how to make sure your bread rises every single time and how temperature really affects that, and then how to create the best environment for your bread to rise. So today we're going to take that back a step, and we're going to talk about yeast. Okay, so the number one ingredient in making your bread rise is yeast. Okay, most breads will need it unless you're doing a quick bread, but these are not quick breads. These are like the real loaf, the artisan loaves, the kind you get at restaurants. So you need yeast. Okay, and I know that you're going to get yeast, and they're going to come in these fancy little packages that say fast rise yeast works in your bread maker, and that you're going to run into 100 Pinterest ads that say just dump the yeast right in and it will be fine. Well, I'm here to tell you that they lie to you. I'm sorry to be blunt, but that's the case. You need to make sure you proof your yeast. And I know you're sitting there thinking, this is one more complication to making my bread. It's super easy. You can do it while prepping the rest of your bread supplies and getting the dough started. It only takes a few moments, and honestly, you will see a huge improvement in your breads by making sure your yeast is proofed before you get started. So, without any further ado, how do you proof your yeast? Okay, super simple. Gonna cut open your yeast, pour it into any bowl. I like to use glass. I'm not big on plastic, but you can use whatever you want. You then are going to take a teaspoon of sugar, because yeast is a bacteria. It needs something to eat to get started. So the sugar is what it's going to eat. So dump in. You have your packet of yeast. You have a teaspoon of sugar. Now you need hot water. Okay, I like to use half a cup. Now you don't want your water to be boiling, because then you'll kill your yeast. So you want it just shy of boiling. So I use about a half a cup and dump it in. Now if you dump it in too fast, it splashes all around. So just dump it in, and then you're going to stir it up so it dissolves. You really don't want it to be chunky and stuff floating around in there, because, well, it looks gross to start with, and chunky yeast looks even worse. So get it all nice and dissolved. And it's going to kind of almost look like a weird putty wet cement type look. And that's fine. That's what it's supposed to look like. Okay. So you're going to leave it there, and you're just going to set it off to the side. And you're going to prep the rest of your bread. You're going to prep whatever else you have going on. And then when you're ready for the yeast, you'll dump it in. So I'll see you back here in about 10 minutes. Oh, hey, you guys are back. Okay. So we have let our yeast proof, and I went ahead and started some bread dough. This is just a simple French baguette type of loaf. My kids love it. I will make sure I drop the recipe down below for you guys. But our yeast has proofed beautifully. I don't know if we can see that in the camera, but it should have almost doubled in size. It should have a nice frothy consistency on the top that should be fairly thick. When you move it around, you'll see liquid underneath, but kind of it stays underneath that frost cap, or that froth cap, not frost. So once your yeast looks like this, you know that it's been proofed. And by getting it started like this versus just in your bread dough, you really will make a huge difference in the quality of your bread. It will give it a fluffier texture because it will have been allowed to rise better. And as we learned in the last video, the bread is all about the rise. So you have to get all the steps taken care of to make sure that it rises correctly and rises beautifully. So we're going to go ahead and just dump that into our bread dough. And when you dump it in, you should see quite a lot of froth and foam on there. And get that all mixed in. Make sure you put it in your oven to rise. If you guys didn't see that tip and trick, make sure you click on that video so you're ready for the next steps. Alrighty, thank you guys very much. I really hope that this will help you make better quality breads for your family and your loved ones. Bread making is not nearly as difficult as it sounds. Anyone can do it. So I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you guys are subscribing to my channel so you don't miss anything coming up. Thank you guys, and until next time.